WW7N, waiting for net at the top of the hour.
W7ITL. James, Dave is back and will be controlling the net tonight.
Just texted him.
ITL disconnected. W7ITL. N7KC.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that go to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5 for the ATV group, referred to the 08 machine. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make contact before the net gets fully underway.
W7ITL.
Hearing none, again, this is Dave, KD7CYM, and the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net can be found by Googling WW7ATS. That's Googling WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll find a little info about the club and also information on the frequencies we transmit on. Also, you will find a link there that will take you to YouTube where we stream our meetings. Our net's held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So with that, we'll get our net underway. We have already checked in is Ron, KD7QKU, Lee, N7KC, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, Wade, W7ITL, James, WU7N, and Jim, N7QO, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net? None. Let's go to Tacoma to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening to the group. This is KD7QKU. Well, it's been pretty quiet over here. It was kind of warm today. Got up to, I don't know, 86, 87 degrees. It's guess it's 80 outside. I turned the air conditioners on in the house about 2 o'clock, 2:30, so it's been nice and cool in here. In fact, I think it was down to, 66 degrees in the bedroom. I went in there a minute ago, the cat had moved out. She had to go find a warmer room, I think. So, let's see, haven't been doing much. My ankle's still been bothering me. I did, it was a little better. I actually walked around the block today, so that's a little improvement. I just, geez, we haven't really gone anyplace and done anything. We just been hunkered down here at home, I guess. So I don't have much to report on. Nice to see everybody, and looking forward to hearing your report. So, just back to Dave, Net Control, KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay. Let me get things back in order here. Yeah, this is Lee in 7KC. And I got the thumbs up from James. Okay, thanks, James. Yeah, it's 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, good to see you all tonight. Dave, yeah, I'm not sure if this is your first time back since your trip, but you don't look too bad for the wear. Anyway, could have been a whole lot worse for sure. Well, it was a warm day. I was just off trying to figure out how hot it got here today. But it was pretty warm to be in the sun and work, I can tell you that. Just kind of a quiet day. Got a little bit of yard work done, and our front porch. We had a couple of windstorms lately, and the cedar berries and madrona leaves and the cedar junk and whatnot just rained down on us here. And so I cleaned up a lot of that, and I took a pointed tool and cleaned it out of the crevices on the front porch. Just perfect dimensions for it to jam itself in. So nothing else here. I hope the presentation went well last night, Bob, and I'm anxious to hear about that. And with that, Dave, back to you. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Go ahead.
KC, well, let's go to Bottle to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, yes, the presentation went very well. So it was the microhams meeting, which the meeting itself started at 6, and our presentation started a little after 6:30. But we were there at 5 to get set up, and I'm glad we were. I mean, we had a little extra time left over, but people start coming in early. Actually, a number of people had come in even at 5 just to make sure that we got access and everything. And it was a good turnout. There were, besides Bert and I, there were about 7 or 8 people in person and about another 7 or 8 or so online. They were using Teams for the remote access. And we had a very interesting surprise guest. Jim Andrews joined. And actually, we got him to weigh in on 1 or 2 things that we weren't sure of. So that was nice. Or it might have just been some questions that were beyond the scope of what our presentation was. I don't remember now. But it was really great. It was great to have him join us. And we the whole thing went very smoothly. I think it was a good thing we did the run-through that we did with you guys last Saturday, and just everything went like clockwork. The demo was actually, it's funny, by setting everything up ahead of time, the demo was almost a non-issue because we had everything not only set up but running. We just had it running through the entire presentation. So we actually referred to the demo pieces during the presentation based on different subjects we were talking about equipment we were using for experimentation, and of course they were all very, very interested in the IC905. that was the star of the show. But we were definitely talking a lot about digital DVB-T and the gear that we had. And anyway, I think I'm probably kind of running over right now, so I'll just let that be my first transmission, and I'll talk a bit more later. Back to net K9PQ.
W7ITL disconnected.
Q, thanks for that report on the demonstration. Let's go to Richard in Kent. K7ITX.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back, Dave. Yeah, no worse for the wear. I can tell just by looking at you, so that's a good deal. I can't speak for myself, though. Anyway, well, for me, I kind of hit a realization last night, and I don't know if I'm correct, but I think there must be something to it. You know, I've been working real hard, working on my blood saturation, oxygen level in my blood, you know, special breathing techniques and all that kind of stuff. And I've had a lot of success indoors, you know, whether it's down long hallways, treadmill, like at the University of Washington on Saturday, at the South Lake Union campus, and just no problem trucking around, and I have my instrument to check my saturation, and it's just great. But the minute I go outside in the sunshine and doing exactly the same exercise or the same kind of level of activity, it just, I have to go into real special pursed lip breathing mode. I mean, it's just really have to kind of pour the coals to it to get my saturation to a safe level. Oddly, I think it might have taken a plane crash in New Mexico. I think it was yesterday. You know, and it was its twin engine. With right after takeoff, one of the engines went out, and so generally speaking, I guess one reason why you would have a twin engine airplane is for that very reason. If an engine goes out, you got another one to help you get back. Well, sadly, in this case, it didn't help the guy get back, and so what transpired was an evaluation, at least by some people, that it was so hot there, so blithering hot, that they were convinced that the pilot did not calculate for the increased temperature and the thinner, less dense air. Well, God, maybe that's what's going on with me. When it's hotter than heck outside, the air is less dense than an air-conditioned interior operation, or when it's cloudy outside. And that's all it takes. Just the density in the air to get me in trouble. So, and that along with my body has to use up extra energy to keep my body cool, and therefore, while it's using energy to help me stay cool, it's using precious oxygen for that function. And so, yeah, I'm danged if I do and danged if I don't. But anyway, if that's a bad evaluation, I wish someone would speak up, because I felt pretty good that now I know what's going on. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
ITL here in Tacoma. I'm just trying to get switched in. My antenna is not working, but let me see if I can get it switched in. I'll switch out my antennas here, and let's see if I can get switched over to RF. Oh, somebody switched me in. All right, there we go. That's good. Looks like everything's working. Wow, Bob, I wish I could have saw the pre-show. You know, your demo. Yeah, Saturday I was at the Gorge with a friend. We went and watched a comedy show, which was pretty fun. And then we stayed at a local hotel because I was not going to drive home. By the time we get out of that show, it was over 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's see, other things that I'm working on, and yeah, this week I have some roofers over again. They're working on our deck above our garage, and that got done today. They finished today. The only thing left is the parapet walls, which are kind of on the outside of the deck. Those have to get recapped with new metal. That'll be happening hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We have to install a couple other things before they can get that done. Siding and some cap, some 2x8 wood on top of the wall. Let's see what else. Nice to see you, Dave. It's been a while since I've seen you on the net, so I'm glad to see you're back. Let's see. I think that's it for this round. W7ITL.
7ITL, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Do we have anybody else who would like to join the net at this point? For visitors, if you wish to check in, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's move on to Covington, to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, in general, sounds like things are reasonably quiet. Ron, sorry about your ankle. Man, I don't know if the walking would make it feel better or make it feel worse, or no change. But I think with an ankle that hurts, that's an accomplishment right there, just doing the walk. Bob, thanks for doing that presentation, and thanks to Bert also, if he's out there listening somewhere. And Jim Andrews, that was a special surprise. Good that he dropped in as well. Well, Dick, so we saw you at the beginning. It looks like once again Pippo was messing with your microphone, but you got it under control anyway. Yeah, I heard something about that airplane accident in Santa Fe. I didn't get as much information as you did on that. But the heat can definitely be a problem. I think you're right on target. I'm supposed to avoid the heat as of, I don't remember what year, several years ago, due to some medical problems that I've got. Kind of a shame because I really enjoyed when I was living in Phoenix. I liked the warmer weather. But I'm supposed to avoid it and avoid the sun. Oh well. Wade, the gorge, well that sounds like fun. The house, well that sounds like work. But anyway, let's see. Oh, Bob, thanks for that picture. I don't remember where that is. I remember it's up in Alaska somewhere. But looks good anyway. I've been mostly running errands today with my wife. I'm not exactly sure why we wound up going out. There was a reason. We had something else planned, but chose to do errands instead. And yeah, it was kind of warm out there. I was just thinking that maybe the air conditioner in the car needs another dose of Freon, but I know it was a little warm outside. I'll have to take a look at it in more normal temperatures. Dave, welcome back. I hope the sickness didn't get the best of you. I hope you have no problems remaining as a consequence of that. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Dave, WW7N here in Bellevue, Washington, Northeast Bellevue. Excellent picture off the repeater tonight, just below a 5, and I don't know, I think it just likes the hot weather. It's about 79 degrees out my back. It's always about a degree warmer out and towards the street side than the greenbelt side, so probably about 80 degrees out front. Glad to have you back and glad to see that you put those COVID germs in their place. That's wonderful. And big thanks to Bob and Bert for the presentation Tuesday. It was really good. I thought it was incredibly well done, super professional. Good job, Bob and Bert. Hot, high, humid. Those are the 3 H's that'll bring you down. Every new pilot learns when you have a runway roll, every time you have something, it's hotter than colder, that the air is less dense. If you're high in altitude, contrary to popular belief, there's still the same amount of oxygen in the air. It's just not as dense, so it doesn't squish through those little alveoli in your lungs quite as well. And then the humid part, well, if it's wet, you just don't get as much lift, so I don't know how that affects breathing either. And Wade, you continue to be an inspiration for me. I'm glad to hear you got the deck above a garage done. That sounds very major. Today, I got an outdoor deck light that had just stopped in the middle of the super cold temperatures. It just stopped, don't know why. And I've got a puzzle to throw out to the group next time round on that. So this is James, WU7N. Let me turn it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
7N, again, this is Dave, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. For an ID, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, the Desert Rat is back. It's kind of nice to be back in cool Seattle. The bummer was when I left Seattle, there was one time I took my mask off to have lunch at SeaTac, and it was just wall-to-wall people there. And so by the time I got into Arizona, about 2 days later, I started coughing, and so took the test, and it showed I had positive for COVID. So contacted a doctor there, and that doctor got me into some Paxlovid. But then I decided I'd better contact my doctor back here in Seattle. And so that conversation went on, and I had had my 5th booster shot about 2.5 weeks before I made the trip down to Arizona. So my doctor said I wouldn't go with the Paxlovid even if you had it at this point, because I might have too much in my body. So anyway, I guess too much is not enough, but anyway, I had about 2 days of some serious coughing, and then after that it kind of went away. But I do have some residual coughing that goes on a little bit, a couple of times a day. So anyway, I'm back, and let's see. This week I had some family matters to take care of. I had a grandson that got married. Oh my, what a beautiful wedding place that was. And today I did some yard work and watered some flowers, so that was about what I was doing here. So this is Dave, KD7CYM, and let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Thank you, KD7QKU here. Well, Dave, we're glad that you came out of the COVID okay, and that you're back home in one piece. And yeah, thanks to Bob and Bert for putting on the demonstration. That was nice. And Wade, I was just looking at your pictures. Is that a torch down on your deck? Yeah, that stuff is pretty good. It should be fine. The wall looked like it was plywood. I don't know if you're gonna paint it or cover it or something, probably. So anyway, Darren, just not much going on. I had previously talked about electric bike, but I haven't taken the plunge yet. It's I don't know if I will. It'd be kind of fun to have one, but I probably wouldn't ride it very much. I wouldn't ride it when it was so hot, that's for sure. So anyway, I don't know, just sort of twiddling my thumbs. Our son Ron comes with his wife Sherry. They've been over on Hood Canal visiting some people I think that they met down in Quartzsite. So they've been over there with them for 2 or 3 days. They're going to stop by here tomorrow. It's their anniversary on Saturday, so we're going to take them out to lunch. We'll probably take them down to Anthony's. It's really close here and it's really nice, so you can sit out on their outside dining and you can see Mount Rainier, and of course you can see the commencement bay and everything. It's really nice down there. So we'll probably go down there. And there's lots of parking. That's nice too, and it's close. So anyway, what else? Not too much, I guess. So I guess I'll just send it back and listen. Back to Dave, KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, there we go. All things are go here, and I'm in, Dave says. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, Ron, when you see your son and Sherry, say hello. You know, we enjoyed meeting them a few years ago. I hope all is going well. Gosh, what was... we got up to 77 today. Oh, Dave, before I forget it, did you see Bob's chat note? Okay. Let's see. The other thing is, I know what I was going to do. I'm going to share something here, which would be this. So this is our temperature today. This happened at 1:30 p.m. today. Temperature hit 77.7. Thus far this year is 83.3. But I'm just wondering how much more of this heat dome stuff around the equatorial regions of the globe are we going to have before Congress and various other countries say this is not good and we're going to all get together and do something about it. I just am curious to see how long this can go on with no action, no serious action to do anything about it. And I don't have anything else. And actually, at 8:30, Dave, I'm going to pull out. So 7-3, all you guys. And Wednesday. I don't know what we're doing Saturday, but maybe we'll see you then. So back to net, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you.
KC, I guess we can say we got a 7-3 from you for the net so far through this evening. And let's move on to Bob, K9PQ in Bothell.
Okay, well that's odd. I didn't expect to have myself over the top of the still behind me, but that's fine. That works. So yeah, that's one of the pictures that Bert took from the presentation. as we were just starting. And let me get myself out of the picture here. And so that was the opening slide for the presentation. Okay, let me fix this one. Okay. To wait for the idea. So yeah, it went just like clockwork. You know, we and I was very surprised that there were almost no questions at all, and we got a hint of why at the end, because one of the comments was, you know, they all thanked us profusely, and one of the comments was it was kind of a fire hose of information. So, you know, I think we're used to this stuff, and especially, you know, the technical side Bert was presenting. You know, I had seen it a number of times and had done a bit of research myself, so none of it was that big a deal to me. But they were a lot of them seeing that for the first time, and it was, I think, a bit overwhelming. But they enjoyed it, and you know, we also, because we got there early and got set up, we talked with them a bit before the meeting, and we hung around and talked for a while after the meeting, and just a real pleasant time. It was nice to see an in-person meeting, and you know, it got me thinking. I'd like to start hosting our monthly meetings again, if there are enough people interested. I think it'd be great to have an in-person meeting again for our group, and then, you know, obviously we'll still have Zoom for those that are not at my place. But if we can get enough people to come to my place, I think it'd be fun. It'd be nice to see everyone in person again. Outside of that, let's see. Well, you know, we talked about these ideas, these project ideas for the future for digital TV, and I think as we are sort of coming out of COVID, I'd like to see us get started on some of that stuff. So, you know, I need to check back in with Rob and find out what the deal is at Tiger Mountain for access. But it'd be nice to get something going there to do that test we talked about, where we put a digital transmitter up there, sending out some kind of a signal, and then have receivers going around different places to see, you know, where can we get the signal from and how well can we get it. So anyway, just a thought. Back to net, K9PQ.
9PQ, thanks for that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net for an ID. I'm Dave, JD7CYM. Is there anybody else who would like to join in on the net? We're on the SeaTac Repeater Association's WW7STR's repeater, 147.08, with a Pacific tone of 103.5 for Cougar Mountain. And again, is anybody else like to check in?
K7KC disconnected.
Sure, K7ITX.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave, and have a good evening, Lee. And Bob, yeah, great presentation. Just everything you guys are doing to help further the club, and gee whiz, Jim Andrews showing up, doesn't get much better than that. So thanks again to you and Bert. Yeah, and Ron, yeah, god dang on your ankles, and me on my shortness of breath. Yeah, so, you know, and we're both talking about getting e-bikes. So I got pretty serious about it. We got some kind of check in the mail from Costco for over $100, and I thought that would go towards it, and probably still could. But they don't have the e-bike that they advertise at the warehouse. They have to ship it mail order, that sort of thing. And and I'm going to a race in Portland over the weekend, and so the e-bike was really kind of the last thing on my mind at this point. But I see it in my future, that's for sure. Just a couple other things. So I'm still working, believe it or not. One thing that an estimator can do is not sell a project, and sometimes that's the best thing an estimator can do, is to look into a job, dig into it, spend 3, 4, 5 hours, with the plans and specifications, and make some coinage while you're doing it. Of course, I'm not going to do that for free, and come up with the decision that this is a job we don't want to work on or spend any more time. It just it had enough messy things in it that it'd take longer to estimate than you would like, and then if you got the job, it'd take more time to run than you would like. So anyway, I always like to make money not working on an estimate. If you get my drift, it's a pretty good way to go. Exciting thing for me, in my quest to avoid dementia and maybe solve another problem at the same time down the road, is this study that just came out where they actually have data that shows people that get hearing aids at the right time, as opposed to those who don't. A bunch of those people that got the hearing aids don't get dementia like the ones that didn't get hearing aids. And so that, I'm going to kind of pay a little bit closer attention to that. I can understand maybe some of the biology behind it, but I think that's a pretty exciting study that came out with that kind of conclusion, and probably good for the hearing aid business. So anyway, so Ron, you're in pretty good shape as far as that goes. You got the hearing aid, and you're still sharp as a whip, so good for you. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
W7ITL on mobile. Can you guys hear me still? All right, well, I want to move to my deck, and I'll just kind of show off the deck. It's probably one of the last projects I'm going to be working on. So let's just kind of do a quick demo or preview of what it looks like. We still got the siding to work on, so that's just we had to rebuild all the walls, so this is all new wood. So yep, all new wood, torched down. We went black because it's kind of our theme in our house. We got black walls. We got black floors. So yep, this is the last one. It's our front deck. And let's see, that's pretty much it for show and tell. I think I said in my first announcement that my folks are with me here visiting from Florida, so that's kind of what I've been doing, is entertaining them and hanging out with them. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Bob and Bert's presentation, and so yeah, more about that in the future of getting on digital. So that's that for this round. I'm glad to see everybody's on and seeing Dave back, and so yeah, I'm just gonna sit back and listen for the next. We got 15 more minutes, so maybe you'll see me again on the next round. W7ITL, back to net.
ATL, let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Wade, thanks for the pictures. Looks like you did quite a bit of work there. Looks really good. Let's see, Bob. Yeah, almost no questions. Boy, that kind of surprises me. But Yeah, maybe they were just a little bit overwhelmed with info. I don't know. I would have expected that you would have got a bunch of questions, but maybe they'll ask questions as things go along. With a little luck, someone will get interested in it and try to join up with us. That would be good. Dick, I heard something as well about hearing aids and dementia. I don't know. I hope that's true. I have a friend who has hearing aids, but for some reason they always don't really work. They tend to squeal a lot. Her children are working on getting her some better hearing aids, and now it should be easier to find them nowadays that you don't even need to go to a doctor, basically. But she can't possibly hear anything over the squeal. I mean, you can be standing there talking to her, and all of a sudden her hearing aid will take off. That's got to be annoying to her. I'm sure she could hear the squeal, but it prevents her from hearing anything else that she would have. So, I don't know, hearing aids are a finicky thing. They've got to work in order for them to prevent dementia. And, yeah, she's having some problems also, by the way, in that area. I don't know. Willie, if you're still there or listening or something, good to see you, and have a good night. And back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, let's go to James, WW7N.
Squealing feedback on hearing aids, yeah, that definitely needs an adjustment. In this day and age, there should be something like phase lock loop or something built into the hearing aids, I would think, that would cause that not to happen. I remember that was a problem in the old days. You had to constantly be manually adjusting the gain, but I thought digital technology eliminated that. Maybe not. Well, let's see. I guess Lee is left, but he made me smile. What, the entire world cooperate towards common survival? Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe. Okay, we need to get together on this. You really got my attention. How to make money not working. I think that's a YouTube channel that could get a lot of hits. We'll have to talk about that later. I definitely want to explore that option. Okay, so the light adventure today, the deck light adventure. When I flipped the switch on the wall, light didn't go on. Well, what's wrong? Well, obviously the light's burned out, right? So just take a new bulb and screw it in, and it turns out, well, that didn't work. And I took the old bulb over somewhere else and screwed it in, and what do you know, it just lights up just bright as everything. What's wrong? So I said, wow, I used my field sampler safety device, and it says it's got 110 volts inside the socket. It gave its little beep, beep, beep. And it's just, of course, sensing the AC field in there. And I thought, wow, that's odd. There must be something physically wrong with the light fixture or where you screw the bulb in, right? Because, I mean, you screw a bulb in. I tried a couple different bulbs. Anyway, I ripped the whole thing off the wall, and finally I do a bunch of testing with it, and I thought, well, there is some really Mickey Mouse construction here. I mean, it's China's finest, circa 2007. It's got little pinch-on crimpy things, which the Northwest just doesn't like. The water gets in there and corrodes. So I basically rebuilt the entire light fixture and put it all back together again. Put it on the wall and flip the switch, and it doesn't work. Well, I go into the switch in the wall, and there's 110 volts on the switch. And then I looked inside. I tore the light off the wall again and was just looking at the wires. And oddly, there's 110 volts on the black wire of death, but the white wire, when I cross them, I mean with a load, nothing happens. It's like the white wire, the neutral, is isolated. Maybe I should have called him, and he would have figured this out right away. what happened, oddly, is someone bounced that light socket off a ground fault circuit interrupter on a socket underneath the light on the deck. But I don't understand that that ground fault circuit interrupter had popped, and so after doing hours of rebuilding the light fixture and remounting it 2 times, I pushed the little red button, the reset button on the GFCI, and the light comes back on. But it doesn't seem to me that the GFCI is doing its job if it tripped and I still have 110 volt hot going up to the light fixture. So anybody who has thoughts on that, I'm all ears. The light works now. The GFCI works, and I checked to make sure the GFCI wasn't wired backwards, so that seemed to work. But if anybody has thoughts on that, go ahead and let me know. WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Let's turn it back to Dave, our net control.
7N, this is Dave, KD7CYN. Well, I guess the bottom line is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, anyway, you have a good solution. I was going to say, sometimes with the light fixtures, the little base contact, the bottom of the bulb, gets bent down, and it doesn't make contact with the bulb when you screw it in. So sometimes you have to use something non-metallic and be sure that the circuit is off, and you can reach in and sort of push that up or pull it up so it will make contact when the bulb is all screwed down in. Oh my. Well, we were talking about aircraft and hot weather, and boy, when I left Arizona, it was only 115 degrees. It hadn't gotten really hot, but we're in a 737-200 and went all the way to the end of the runway and took off, and we almost used the whole runway to get airborne, but they do need a lot of extra space to get airborne at those temperatures, because the tarmac itself is probably about 5 degrees more hotter than, or even 10 degrees hotter than the ambient air temperature. But once we were up and you heard the wheels go ka-thunk, hey, we made it. So anyway, that was the best part of the trip. And so that's about what I can say about flying in hot weather. So with that, let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you. KD7QKU here again. Well, I guess Wade's gone, but I thought everything looks pretty good. I wonder if he's going to put siding on those walls and then put a metal cap on top with a drip on it. Probably going to do something like that. James, I had something similar happen here. So I had Armando come over and work, and he was going to rotor hammer a hole through the curb and put a drain from my yard out to the gutter in the street and go under the sidewalk. And so he came over, and I happened to notice that he had plugged his extension cord into the motorhome, and I didn't know if he'd use it or not, but I yelled, no, don't do that, let's plug it in up here on the deck, to the house wire, because anyway, so he unplugged it, and we plugged, or I unplugged it or something, and we plugged it into the house. So a few days later, I noticed that the temperature in the motorhome, I have a sending unit in the motorhome and a receiver for the temperature in the house, and I can monitor the temperature. I noticed there was something wrong, I thought. So I went out there, and nothing would work as far as electricity. And so I'm looking at the panels and fuses and breakers and everything else and scratching my head and wondering what happened. Well, what happened was the same thing that you had. On one of the plugs there, is one of those that has a little thing that you push on it, and I happened to notice that it was red or whatever, and after I had checked everything else and scratched my head for about an hour, I finally pushed that, and guess what? All the lights worked again. So I guess everything's on this one circuit, which is kind of crazy. But a motorhome, doesn't have much in it, but it's the outside plug and everything is on the same circuit, I guess. But I'm happy everything worked and everything was back to normal. So anyway, what else is going on? Not much. I guess I'm just going to turn it back and listen, you guys. And Richard, I guess you were talking about, going outside and breathing inside. That was kind of pretty interesting. And then you talk, hearing aids. So my hearing aids, to my knowledge, have never done that. They've never made that noise, and I think, James is right. I think they're digital or something. They have batteries in them, but they never have made that noise for me to hear or anyone else to hear. So my hearing aids are controllable from my cell phone. I can increase either right or left or bass or treble or whatever I want to do. And so that works pretty nice. And they came from Costco. Apparently, I think Costco hearing aids are pretty good. So let's see. I was going to make one other. Oh yeah, I heard about the dementia too. So they seem to be a lot of things that contributes to dementia. That wasn't Alzheimer's. That was dementia, I guess. So, anyway. So back to net. 87 QKU.
Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. And put out a call and see if anybody else wishes to join the net this evening for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Hearing none, let's go to Bob, G9PQ and Bottle.
Okay, well, thank you, Dave. So I made some notes. I have a few things to say. Well, first note is just something I remembered. I heard, or I saw in the news that today is the last day of a sunset of 9 o'clock or later. We're transitioning across 9 p.m. sunset. So the end of this net, the sun will be setting, and things are turning around. we have a lot of summer weather left, but our days are getting shorter. What else? So yeah, the hearing aids and dementia. That just from a layman's point of view, that makes sense to me, because I think that if you don't hear, you're in isolation, and I think that it's going to lead to problems with mental problems, and with dementia, I can absolutely see that. And as far as James, the world getting together to save the world, hey, it worked for Star Trek, right? So, what else do we have? Yeah, the GFCI, in my opinion, that GFCI is worse than bad. It's dangerous. I don't know why you have a GFCI where you do. I imagine there's probably some reason for it on one of the plugs or something. I only have it like in my kitchen and the bathrooms and things like that. And I did one time have a light. I came home from vacation and a light wouldn't turn on in the dining area, and I couldn't understand why. And it turns out it's on the same circuit as my kitchen circuit that has a GFCI, because instead of just having the GFCI control a single outlet, they usually control, as you found with James in your case, they control a whole circuit. And so I couldn't get my light to turn on, and it took me a long time to find that little red button sticking out in the kitchen ground fault. Yeah, I have a flying in hot weather story myself. I'm going to break and start that. I used to have a friend that flew small planes. He's a professional pilot now, probably retired by now. But when he was still getting his air miles in, I would go with him and occasionally go on a long trip with him. And so this was 4 of us all on this trip in a Cessna. We might have a 180 or 182 or something on that in that trip. But the 4 of us were flying. It had just had its check, its full check, and we had flown to Eastern Washington, Boise actually. I think we'd flown to Boise and back again. And somewhere in Eastern Washington, the radio gave out, both radios gave out. You've got the two radios, so you got a backup. Well, it turned out, we found out later on, the reason why both of them gave out was that the switch between the two radios failed, and so we lost both of them. But the hot weather part of it was very hot. It was a summer day in eastern Washington, and when they tried to start the engine again, the engine wouldn't start. And he was so worried about, you don't have big batteries and big starter motors, that can just crank and crank and crank. So after cranking for a little while, I had to get out, and just like with the old Sopwith Camel days, I had to pull on the propeller, stand out in front of the propeller and pull on it, and it took, I'm going to say it took about half a dozen times, and I was huffing and puffing and sweating badly by the time that thing started. But we did get it started, and we made it back home, but he was really upset with the people, because another thing was, one of the inspection plates was not secured properly, and so as we were taxiing after we landed, we heard something and saw something fly by, and it was the inspection plate that had come off the airplane. So yeah, that was a bit more adventure than we wanted. Okay, back to that K9BQ.
K9BQ, let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Well, anyway, right before we had the net tonight, would you believe I just got off a 4-hour Zoom meeting with my doctor on the East Coast in downtown Manhattan, the rehabilitation pulmonologist, and 4 hours started out with about roughly 500 people. It was just insane. It was just, and the fact that of course they started dropping out, I mean, 4 hours. I mean, it was still going on. It started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon here, 7 o'clock Eastern. So what was that, 11 o'clock at night and beyond for those people that have to get up and go to work the next morning, anyway, that was my excitement for tonight leading up. And then I even cooked dinner during all this and still was able to get together with you guys. So it's been kind of and I love this man back east. I still call him an angel from heaven who saved my life. So, it's just, and here's the thing. Everything he does, for us at least, is free. Now, I'm sure he's got his practice that, he charges Medicare or whatever insurance that comes along. So he is in business. I mean, he has to make a living. But he's got this foundation, and everything the foundation does is free. And I'm telling you, I mean, some of the best advice, if not the best advice, has come from this man. And it's just, I'm telling you, it's intense to to be really sick and not know who to turn to. It's just the damnedest thing you ever. The good doctors are out there, the great doctors are out there, but they don't know who their customers really are. They depend on the customers finding them, patients, that is. And boy, I'll tell you, it isn't easy. It took the best part of 9 months for me to get my stuff squared away. So anyway, that was my excitement for today, and it's been really fun hearing all the good stories tonight. K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
W7ITL here in Tacoma. I'm going to say 73 to everybody, and we'll see you next this coming Saturday if I can get on. I might have some other arrangements, but I will try. All right, 73 guys, W7ITL, back to net.
ITL, we got a 73 from you. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
Sorry, Dave, you got covered up by the ID, or did you call for me there?
Yes, I did. N7QO, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Dave. N7QO. Hey, good night, Wade. Thanks for participating. Well, Dick, 4 hours Zoom meeting. Holy cow. Yeah, that's, I hope you didn't charge it for 4 hours, or charge whoever, Medicare or whoever. Wow. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason, it seems to be a challenge finding doctors nowadays. That's absolutely true. We have to seek them out and try to figure out who would be best suited for our problem. And that's a real challenge. But glad you found someone that's good anyway. Jim, ground fault interrupters. Yeah, I had a similar experience as Bob. I've discovered that a ground fault interrupter can control essentially a whole circuit, not just what I would expect, a single outlet. I don't know for sure. It seems a little bit odd to me that there would be voltage there with the ground fault interrupter tripped. I've never tested that, but I just would not expect that. So I don't know. That requires a little more research. And you mentioned preventing Armageddon. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen due to lack of interest. Go figure. I don't know. And let's see. Oh, Bob, it sounds like that flight that you had was an adventure. I'm glad it didn't have a bad outcome. I would not want anyone hand-propping an airplane that hadn't done it under supervision a couple times before. You can definitely get hurt doing that. But glad the outcome was okay anyway. And yes, after an annual inspection, you definitely have to sort of test fly the aircraft a little bit. I used to work for a flight school way back when as an instructor back in the 70s. And whenever one of our aircraft would come out of an annual inspection, the owner of the company was really finicky about what we would do with the airplane, or more specifically, what we would not do. Avoid flying in weather, and loading it up with people or weight until it's gone through at least a shakedown flight. Kind of interesting. Oh well, it looks like the hour's upon us here. Good night, everyone. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, yes, and it's time to button up the net for the evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for our voice transmissions. Well, with that, this is Dave, KD7CYM, terminating the net at 9:02. Good evening, all.